Did I miss anybody?
Yeah.
Before we get started, since we have new members, if you would go ahead and start with Yolanda, just introduce yourself and who appointed you and 2 sentences about what you do.
Well, my name is Yolanda Cervantes. I'm a property business manager for Pinnacle Management. I want to say I'm not an acquaintance from the neighborhood services actually appointed me and offered me to see if I wanted to become a board member, and I just said sure.
Councilman Coffin. On behalf of Councilman Coffin. You're Ward 3.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
My name is Roxanne McCoy. I was appointed by Councilman Ricky Barlow.
I don't know. What do you do?
And I own my own business called Aspire Consulting, and I do public relations, event planning, et cetera, et cetera. It's called Aspire Consulting.
Mike Aker, Councilman Coffin, and retired military, and I work with youth, Little League Baseball, for the last 37 years.
Nice.
This is your third year, right? Third year serving on this board? Third or fourth?
I'm Sean Bolster, staff support to the board, and the administrator of the Community Development Block Grant Funds and the Housing Opportunity Persons with AIDS Funds.
Phyllis McFadden. I was appointed by Lois Sarkany, and I currently work with my husband and retired from the city.
Pam Hartley. I was appointed by Councilman Coffin, and I'm a Las Vegas native and have lived downtown most of my life, and I've been very involved in downtown neighborhood associations and neighborhood programs. So that's how I got here.
I'm Audrey Aslan, and second year in Wolfson, Ward 4, and let's see what else. Work for BLM, civil engineer. So that's pretty much it.
Demeter Pappas. I was originally appointed by the first Mayor Goodman and then continuing appointed by Lois Tarkanian. We've served on the board since 2006, and I manage homeowners associations.
That's good.
Thank you, darling.
Carmela Shawn Miller. I was appointed originally by the first Mayor Goodman, and I've been reappointed by the current Mayor Goodman. I am an educator and administrator in the Clark County, and also involved in a lot of community projects in the city.
And that's us.
Okay. So I'm going to call the training session of the Community Development Recommending Board together. Our first order of business is the announcement regarding compliance with the open meeting law.
We are in compliance.
As we should. Properly posted and all that fun stuff. And right. Typically we do the pledge. Do we do it to that?
Flag.
It's a flag.
Sure, let's do it to that.
It's okay.
We certainly
works.
could.
Does this work?
Yeah, let's just do it to that. That's
Okay,
perfect.
swell. We usually say the pledge, so.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Swell.
Yes.
I have one. I have one.
You can share mine.
I have one. Anyone else?
Here you go, Phyllis.
Ma'am.
One of your very own.
And the agendas are a tad bit different this year.
Hi, how are you? Do you want to sit here at my seat because it's closer? On the end? Yeah, on the end. Really want to come here, get it closer to the end?
Do I have to sit beside you?
No. You have to sit next to Defender. Me and Ms. Holder go a long way. I'm all right. I want her to be comfortable, so I'll move over to you. It's not a problem at all. Come next to us.
So we're looking for public comment during this part of the meeting. Is there anyone that has public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, I guess we'll go on to item 4, discussion for possible action, nominating and electing the chair, co-chair, and alternate co-chair. And the floor is open. Don't know. Chair recognizes Phyllis McFadden.
Are we going ahead and stating our case? I'd like to nominate Devendra this year as chair. She's been here many, many years and served as co-chair.
I second that. Carmel Sean Miller, I second that recommendation by Member McFadden.
Okay, we have a first, second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of Devendra being chair? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4, 1 abstention.
Busy.
You're busy? Are you, oh. 9 members voting yes. Thank you. Okay, and your co-chair? Pam Hartley?
I would like to nominate Carmen Sean Miller.
The partners in crime.
I'm sorry, you guys make it the dynamic duo.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Or, I'm sorry, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
I can't vote for myself right there, but kind of
Well,
nasty.
you do. Yeah, you can.
Ms. Olgard? Oh, I'm sorry.
Shows a willingness to
Unanimous.
serve.
Can I just make a quick comment?
You may.
For those of you who are new,
Phyllis McFadden making a comment.
I've been serving on the board, I think this is my 4th year, and when I first came in, these two are one of the strongest, most outspoken, involved members, and have always served in some respect. They've always been here consistently, and just so you're kind of aware of what prompted the voting. Not only were they here, but they had a lot of input, and they're always on top of all the material. And I think they both served as co-chairs in the past. So it's nice to have somebody who not only knows what it is that we're working on, but also keeps current on the material and is involved in the process. Because especially when you're new, remember the first year it was new, you aren't comfortable with what to ask. And these two are great leaders in that respect. So. So just so you know why these two are so special, it's hard when you're new.
Good to see. The Sean Bolzer staff, one of the new things for this year, one of several new things for this year, is that all the meetings are going to be held here. I will be getting you guys parking passes that are good for a year for the first meeting in January, so you'll have them. If you don't have, if you only have an hour on your meter, I highly recommend go put some quarters in, because it's a $25 ticket and we all have to pay them. Also, these minutes are going to be recorded audio only and placed on the city's website. That's the reason for being down here, as opposed to the DSSC where we held all of our other meetings. So for new people, nothing changed for you, but for everybody else, that's why we're down here. So be cognizant of your comments, because they will be World Wide Web. Review of the...
We need an alternate co-chair.
We have alternate. Oh, the alternate co-chair. I missed that. So sorry. And we need an alternate co-chair as well.
The alternate co-chair runs the meeting if both Carmen and I are not here. Somebody to fill that chair. Go ahead, Roxanne.
I, Roxanne McCoy, nominate Member McFadden.
Jimmy, the alternate co-chair.
Pam Hartley, I second.
I'm sorry, excuse me, I didn't get that nomination. I'm sorry.
Member
Roxanne McCoy nominated Member McFadden.
Thank you.
And Member Hartley second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Okay. For the record, Rodney Jordan just joined, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 members present. Good job. All in favor? All opposed? So we had 9-4, 1 abstention, or 2 abstentions. Okay. So your chair is Carmen LaShawn, I'm sorry, your chair is Devinder Pappas, your co-chair is Carmen LaShawn Miller, and your alternate co-chair is Phyllis McFadden. Phyllis, do you want to go put quarters on your vehicle?
I will do that. I have them on there, just not for a full 2 hours.
Is there a change machine around here?
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking, did I put an hour in there?
The change machine is on the first floor of the parking garage. Oh, by the way. Why is this not talking?
Try Shift F8
I did.
one more time. There you go.
Yeah, but it's not showing on my screen. There we go. Why is it doing that?
It's searching for
Like it's still.
the source.
Yeah, it's supposed to be with the, there's supposed to be 3 options with the
Right.
Shift F8. Leave it that way. Don't do anything here. Give this a second. Never mind.
Listen here, buddy.
Just work off the big screen.
What's that?
Just work off the big screen.
I guess so. I don't know why it's being stubborn. It's just how this week's gone. Oh, there it goes. I got it.
We got
It finally
it.
said yay. Okay. Of course, I forgot the spectacles, so.
Do we have lights for these?
Hey. How's that? Is that good?
That's good.
Swell. Okay. So this is our board orientation. We're going to be going over a couple of things. We're going to go over the programs real quick for you guys, and then we'll have, I'm going to go over the Zoom grants, which is our new online software this year. Everything's online, no books. Yay. 0 books. Can I get a clap?
Guys, if you do us, we would literally get 4 or 5 binders this
One
thick.
thick. This
That we would,
one.
4 or 5 binders this thick that we'd have to review everything on. So this is huge.
Carry them back and forth, yeah.
Here's my original term.
Very good. So no binders. The entire process is online. So we're all staff who's been asking loudly and vociferously for the software finally got it. So I'm very excited to have it. We're trying to go green. So the Community Development Recommending Board, which are you, are one of the important components of our funding process, and you were selected by Mayor and Council to serve across section of the community and your ward, and what you're going to be doing is making recommendations to them for their final approval. So you provide Mayor and Council with kind of their hands-off, direct contact with all the agencies that are asking for funds. We receive our funds at the city from HUD directly. We're an entitlement community, and we're waiting to see what happens next year because the new census information is out. So depending on how many new entitlement cities are set up, or how many we lose, and the basis of poverty, we may get some more money. We're all crossing our fingers. And
Do you think the number's going to go up and not down?
well, I think what's going to happen, based on my very humble opinion, is that our numbers are going to go up, but they're talking about a 10% cut next year. This is on top of the 18% cut we got last year. So we're going to get cut, but hopefully that we'll get enough that it won't hurt us quite so much. We don't know exactly what our funds are going to be, so we base everything on last year and hope for the best. PRNS, as we call it, PERNS, is Parks, Rec, and Neighborhood Services. We accept applications from nonprofit agencies, and then the mayor and council appoint you, and you review and approve recommendations to send forward to them. And our programs are the Housing Opportunities for Persons with AIDS, which is just under $1.2 million, and the Community Development Block Grant Public Service Funds, which are just under $600,000. Hopefully.
What was the figure for HOPA?
You're going to get it.
Oh, I thought you just gave it.
It's actually on the
It's on here?
application software too. It's kind of neat.
Okay, cool.
We have funding priorities that have been established by mayor and council, and they are homeless outreach and/or prevention, senior services, special needs, which covers handicapped, disabled clients in addition to the HOPA clients, and youth programs and early childhood development. All of our funds must be used to help low-income citizens who live in the city of Las Vegas. They cannot be used to assist someone who lives in the county, lives in Henderson, lives in North Las Vegas. So everything is reimbursement basis. Agencies spend their money first and then submit all of their backup into us. And so we verify all of that. They have to send us client lists, and we look all that up. Your responsibilities are to prepare for the program presentation meetings with the applicants. Your meetings are going to start January 17th, which there's a little calendar at the back of the manual. And we're working, the email that y'all got said to reply to all. The intent was that you would reply to the city staff and not each other. So when you reply your attendance, you just have to reply to the person who sent it, myself, and then the city staff that's at the bottom of the email. That way, because they rotate through, like we have in this meeting, but we might get Stacy or one of the other ladies here for one of the other meetings, or Gabby, so they all need to be kept in the loop as to who's coming and who's not.
Sean?
Yes.
If I can make a suggestion? If you put all the city staff in the CC line,
Yes.
then we can hit reply to all and then just clear out whatever's in two and send it to you or
Okay.
whomever. And that might be easier for us than having to...
Yes, then pick through. That makes perfectly good sense. We need to have a quorum by 1:45. If not, we'll have to reschedule the meetings, because after 1:45, then we're running very late. We have a very tight schedule this year because we're moving to the new city hall in February. So no February meetings, which killed my schedule. Big time, because we would have done this a lot further out. But on the back of the book.
Page 13, Ms. Hobart.
Okay. Almost the last page. I moved it around.
13. It's Appendix A.
So that's my direct number, the 229-4912. So if you have something happen, even after you've said that you're going to be here, if something happens, just call and let me know.
And this is all the people we're going to get this year.
Yes, ma'am. I believe so. No promises. We will be getting the meetings at 1:30. We're going to run them a little bit later this year, so we will be here hopefully till 4:30, maybe 5, in order to fit everybody in with this really short, squishy schedule.
And we're going to be meeting in this room?
Yes, everything's in this room.
That's going to get cozy for our...
I know, and I can only apologize. There's only 3 places to have meetings now. This meeting room, the city manager's conference room, or in chambers. And I did not think that chambers was very conducive to
See, then I could sit in the mayor's chair.
Yeah, you
I didn't think that was very conducive to what we were doing, so all the meetings are going to be here. The applicants have 10 minutes to make their presentations and for you to have question and answer time. We've tried 3 minutes, 5 minutes. This year, what I'll do is, when we hit the 3-minute mark, I'll hold my fingers up 3 minutes, let the applicant know so that they can stop and you can ask questions. And if there's time left over, they can address anything that they may have missed. They have their full 10 minutes, where in the past, when time was up, time was up. So they have 10 minutes to utilize to the best of their ability.
Would you tell them this before they come here? So
Yes.
that
Yes.
before they get here?
Yes, ma'am. We would ask that you focus your questions on the application and the program that they've asked for first. Then if there's time left over, you can ask them about other programs, because some agencies are multi-program, multifaceted, and some of them are just one program, that's it. And we will be telling the applicants to also not use their presentation time to tell you about everything else they're doing before they talk to you about the program that they've applied for.
Do you know how many applications you have yet?
I do. There are 38. When we start the meetings, for sake of the audio and to help the city clerk who don't know you all well, make sure you raise your hand and you're recognized by the chair. We don't have microphones this year. I guess this is it. But do know that all conversations are recorded, so please keep your sidebar comments to a dull roar. The board must avoid conflicts of interest, real or perceived. Real important, agencies may no longer submit clarification information following their presentations. What you see is what you get. So at your request, we added some scoring questions relating to the presentations. So you'll go through, pre-score everybody, and then you've got 2 questions that we'll figure out if you want to score them at every meeting. Thus, we'll have you'll need to bring laptops. I have access to 5 notebooks, little baby laptopy things that IT will let us use for the meetings, but you can't take them home.
We're going to have internet access on our laptops, or how's that going to work?
Yes, everything will. We have Wi-Fi here. We have Wi-Fi in the room. We would ask that you limit your questions to no more than 2 at a time, out of courtesy for your fellow board members. And if we have refreshments, they're just for you. Here's your money. We have approximately $547,941 for CDBG, which may change, may not change. HOPWA is $1,072,481. They've not had any discussions about cutting the HOPWA program. It's one of the few that was not cut thus far. Knock on Formica. Reminder that they may cut, and you don't have to worry about those cuts, because if that does happen, we'll do just like we did last year. We'll notify all the applicants that there's going to be a cut to the amount that you provided, and they will let us know if they can use the funds or not use the funds.
And it'll be a percentage across the board?
Yes, a percentage across the board. Okay. They had approximately 30 days to complete and submit applications this year. The applications opened on October 24th, and they were due back on November 22nd. I would love to have given them a little bit more time, but it was just really tight this year. And I apologize that the PowerPoint is really small and squishy. The computer and I were having a discussion, so if you need me to email it to you big, I will do that. Questions? Yes, Carmen.
Okay, so it's 41, so 3 didn't make it through, apparently, through that first level of
That is correct.
the review process. Okay.
We started with 75 this year. And out of the 75, only 41 completed their applications and submitted them on time. And out of those 41, we had 3 that did not move forward. Yes, Phyllis.
Overall, how do you feel that they did with the new Zoom grant process?
I think they liked it. I'm going to show it to you.
I saw it online, so I
And
just wanted to help.
I think they did like it. The nice thing is, you all know that I'm very much about formatting and making sure everything is nice and pretty. And this is just, you fill the questions in and it formats everything. There's no bold, there's no underline. It is what it is. And it's a young company, and they're a great company to work with. They take in our suggestions on making things better, so we're really, really happy to be working with them. Very happy.
And for the new members, when it says the request ratio, what they're saying is if we have $500,000 for CDBG, we could have requests that equal $2 million. And that's how much we have to cut down, and it's heartbreaking. It's hard.
When we had the 75, there was 3 million requested. It was a little intimidating. Yes, ma'am.
What in general disqualified them?
2 of them did not have city business licenses, and the other one had a substantially incomplete application. They submitted it, but didn't go back in and fill it out and submit all the attachments.
How about the difference between the 38 and the 75? What?
They just didn't submit.
Okay.
They applied, 75 people applied, but only
They
41
started.
submitted.
Right, we had 75
Okay.
started, and of the 75, only 41 went through the whole process.
Okay.
And there were
Fair enough.
quite a few of them that waited until 15 minutes till 3.
Yep.
I was shocked. We lost one, a very good agency, because they waited until then, had problems with their computer and couldn't get the attachment submitted, and there was nothing I could do. Wow. Because late, unfortunately, is late. We had 5 HOPA applications, and they all moved forward. Real quick, direct client services. Some agencies offer direct client services, such as the bus tokens and passes and food vouchers. Some do case management and refer their clients to other agencies for the tangible things. Both are acceptable uses for the funds. You don't have to just pay staff. You don't have to just buy widgets. It's whatever your agency needs to provide those services, and they're both equally acceptable uses of funds. Okay. Big difference between proposed budgets and current operating budgets. They've got to support the information in each part of the application. This year we asked agencies to submit their 990s, which is their tax returns, in addition to any audits. Because what we find is agencies will sometimes become very large agencies for purposes of applying for funds. In other words, they were a $60,000 agency, and all of a sudden next year, if everybody just gives them everything they want, now they're a $500,000 agency. And that's part of what you have to do as a board, is go through and figure out who's kind of sticking close to what's reasonable and verifiable and who's not. Agencies should be able to document any major changes in their budgets from year to year. We added a question this year that if their program budget changed up or down 25%, they need to explain that to you and to us. So we had a scoring mechanism in place for that last year, but unfortunately we didn't account for the agencies that, we had one that got a huge county grant. Well, we didn't account for that, so we had to give them a very low score for it, and we're like, well, we just punished somebody that got money, so we changed our scoring mechanism around to encompass that and gave them space where they could talk about their budgets. Yes, Phyllis?
I just wanted to go back to what you were saying before about the partnerships. When we had such a difficult time for the new board members, deciding, who was most deserving of money, one of the things that we felt strongly about was the agencies that really reached out and did partnershiping. Because we felt like if they reached out and were trying to partnership with, so there wasn't duplication of efforts, that's to us that scored, to many of us that scored in their favor, because they were trying not to have redundancy and duplication. So that was just an important thing for many of us.
The proposed budgets reflect funds requested but not necessarily received. One of the things that, as a staff person, I know that North Las Vegas has right around $200,000 So when an agency comes in and says, well, I asked for $100,000 from North Las Vegas, and I asked for $75 from Henderson, not going to happen because their funding amounts are not as large as ours, and they do the same thing. We have boards that want to try to divvy out the money as best they can, so two agencies getting all the money, typically not going to happen. So just kind of things to take a look at. I will tell you that North Las Vegas, Clark County, City of Henderson, and us are all using Zoom grants. So
They're all doing what?
we're all using Zoom grants for our application process.
Well, it seems like it keeps things on a really even keel for everybody as well.
Yes, and by next year, we will have it set up so that the agencies themselves can just cut and paste. If we all have the same first 10 questions, they'll be able to cut and paste all those questions instead of having to retype everything, which is kind of fun. As a reminder, we do have agencies that are part of multi-state organizations. The program budget should only reflect the local chapter. We reimburse only, so the agencies have to spend the money first and then submit all their backup to us. Our funds never, ever, ever go to out-of-state clients or parent agency expenditures. We go through all that with a fine-tooth comb. I promise you, since they're my programs, 47 cents in taxes, take it out and don't reimburse it. I mean, just down to that level, so that my files are good for an auditor to go through. For HOPWA, you're going to be grading the, and pretty much the same for CDBG, but application completeness, their track record capacity, their proposed outcomes, their proposed budget, their description, the need. Performance measures are really important, and we'll go into those. Committed leveraging, new this year for CDBG, they had to come to the table with a 25% match. Committed funds, agency funds. So they had to have cash or a letter from a funding source that said that for FY 12-13, they had a commitment of 25% of that program budget. And with HOPWA program partnerships, CDBG, same thing, committed leveraging, performance measures, percentage of in-kind views towards the budget, and the same for 6. Score sheets,
Sean.
go ahead, Pam, yes.
Did they need, for the, for the last one, do they also need a 25% commitment for the CDBG?
HOPWA did not need to
HOPWA
have that
needed
commit.
it.
No, CDBG needed to come to the table with 25%.
CDBG is the one.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Agencies have the ability to earn 100 points between your scores and our scores, and at least 65 points are needed for you to even consider them. We felt that agencies scoring 65 points or more demonstrated a little bit higher capacity to successfully utilize the funds. And in the event, which we know you will, the zero funding agencies, you'll just need to state for the record why you did that. When you're considering agencies for funding, agencies typically apply for funds because they need them. The application should tell the story and substantiate why they need the funds. Try not to hold an agency's ability to raise funds against them. We have some agencies that are really good fundraisers and some that might not be as good. But again, they came in here, they asked for the money, and it's our job to figure out who really needs it. You do not have to fully fund an organization based on a proposed budget. So do your comparative analysis to make sure that they didn't have a huge jump from one program year to the next.
Do they still list their priorities?
Their priorities.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's always a good jumping point for new members when you're reviewing the grant, and because our money has been cut, is see what their number one priority is. We might be able just to fund that versus do what they're all projecting.
The most important thing are performance measures, because a lot of people can hire someone to write a grant for them, or they themselves can write a grant, but if their outcomes do not clearly state what the benefit to the client is to going through their program, there's no reason to fund them. We have agencies that still think that it's the benefit of the agency receiving the funds, and that is not it. It is the result of the client walks in the door on day one. What happens to the client? What do they get by participating in the program? What benchmarks do they have to achieve to stay with the program? And then what evaluation tools are going to be used to measure that client's success or failure, which helps you change your program for the better for the next year. We have to meet spending goals. If agencies do not spend the funds in a timely manner, then our CDBG grant can be jeopardized. We have limited funding, and not all presented programs are going to get funds. That's part of the heartbreak of being where you're sitting.
And it is a hard
With HOPWA, we provide housing and supportive services for clients who are HIV positive or have AIDS and their families. This program is countywide, and we're the only HOPWA recipient in Clark County, so we manage all the funds. With HOPWA, they're only allowed to submit one application, which can have several program components. Made that a lot easier, because we have some agencies that have 3 or 4 program components each, which we'll go into here in the next slide. The applicant minimum is $50,000. So they had to come in and ask for a minimum of $50,000 in order to apply for the program. They offer short-term rental, mortgage, utility assistance. We call that STRMU, tenant-based rental assistance, where it's almost like a Section 8 lookalike, where they go out, they find a place, and HOPWA pays a portion of the rent, and the tenant pays a portion of the rent. Housing and utility assistance, housing operating costs, supportive services, and rental housing assistance. They're maxed out. They can only ask for 7% admin from HOPWA. For CDBG, we are, by regulations, only allowed to use 15% of our CDBG allocation from HUD for public service. There's nothing we can do to change that. The applications must meet one or more of the council priorities, and it should be a new service or an increase in the level of service provided. Agencies can only request up to 25% of their program budget from City of Las Vegas CDBG. We felt very strongly that agencies should not depend on the City of Las Vegas to sole source fund their programs, and so that is why that is in place. They have to request a minimum of $15,000, which means that they have to have a program budget of $60,000. Of that, 25% of that can be in kind, but no more than that, in order to make the difference. And these are just eligible public service costs, which are operating maintenance costs associated with providing a service. We will not pay for equipment that costs more than $5,000. We will not pay for vehicles, because then we have to track the use, and we don't want to do that. And the 229-4912, that's my direct number. And Marty Toledo is my supervisor. That is his number, the 229-6364. And Dr. Lisa Morris Hibbler is our deputy director. And she's the 229-5450.
When you hit F5, it'll start.
What's that?
F5.
It doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't like me very much.
Sean, was there anybody that didn't fully utilize their funds last year?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
It's not over yet.
Well, the time for that is December. They have until December to spend 50% of their funds, unless they've talked to us and said, hey, my program doesn't even start until September. We have a couple of programs that do partnerships with the school district.
When you were processing the applications with the applicants, did you have an opportunity to stress to them how important it is that they attend the meeting and that they speak to the board?
Why, yes, I did, and you're going to love the application because one of the questions on there says, applicant understands the importance of bringing the CFO and the executive director to the meeting.
I saw that, and I thought that was very good because
Thank you.
it's always difficult when you have questions for the finance person, and they're not there, but
Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything before we go on to Zoom grants. The way the grant programs work for new people, we do a 5-year consolidated plan. And part of that process is every year we have to do an action plan, which is why we have to start so far back, because we have to bump into the HUD deadlines for submitting our action plan that says, this is how we're going to spend the money for the upcoming fiscal year. And since our fiscal year starts July 1st, everything has to be to HUD and approved by mid-May. Then at the end of the program year, we have to do what's called the CAPER. I can never remember what it stands for. So that's our report card. That's how the action plan tells how this is how we spent the money. The CAPER says this is what we actually did. So everything that you do is part of that process.
when we reconvene, then you will most likely have the information about how they utilized the funds
Yes.
from last year. Okay.
Oh, yes. The question was, when you meet in January, if I'll have a report on who's done what, and yes, I will.
Because it's important for us to know if we gave the money last year, they didn't spend it all, which jeopardizes our funding. We need to know.
Well, we'd rather redirect it to somebody who's going to fully utilize it.
Right.
The applications for E's are broken into sections. We have a program narrative. This is from your manual. The agency narrative, which provides information and background on the agency. I'm on page 8. The finance narrative that tells the story of the funds. We ask a lot of financial questions because we want to make sure that they're running a good tight ship and that they're able to use the funds. Sometimes an agency will hear about our free money not knowing all of the administration that comes with the free money. What I tell everybody is, with your free money comes me. Again, new is that public service match. They explain their other projected funding sources, and then they have program priorities. And that's where, and I'm going to go through the application real quick as soon as I'm done with this part. That's where they tell you, gosh, I asked you for $50,000 and this is how I want to spend it. The one thing that we'll have to pay attention to is we've also limited them to 5 budget line items, and that's it. Instead of taking $15,000 and splitting that up between 15 line items, they have 5, and that's it. So if they go over that, it's going to reflect on their scores. And once I get a list together of who overdid that, it'll be based on their priorities. We talked a little bit about scoring, and I have information on that for you.
Excuse me, Sean.
Yes.
If you don't mind, just for the record, could you tell me which item that we're on?
We are still on 5-ish. Because you already said that the, and we're going to go over open meeting law. I believe you were going to do that for us.
Thank you.
When we're, we can do that next.
Vicki was going to, so I
Okay.
have to go ahead and give her.
Okay. The rest of the book just kind of goes over what was in our PowerPoint. The meetings are on page 13, so our meetings are going to be January 17th, January 19th, the 24th, and the 31st. And we're going to do things a little bit different this year. We're going to have all the presentations, and then you're going to do recommendations on the last day, on the 31st for both grants. It was the only way to try to utilize your time as best we could with the unknown factor of out of the 75 applicants who were going to push through and make it to you guys to look at. So we'll try it. If we don't like it, then we'll change it back next year. And by next year, we're going to have this process down to a science.
So Sean, very end, our last meeting,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna have the recommendation. Is that when they're gonna be in there with us as we,
It's an open meeting, the public
They can be.
can be,
I mean, I know, but
yes,
is this the facility they're gonna be in?
yes. I know, it's going to be a little squishy.
Yeah.
I don't think we had that many that were there last year. Usually the hardcore.
At the end.
Larger room, but it's
Right.
Yeah.
conducive.
Yeah, it's a little squishy, unfortunately. The nice thing is that when they're doing presentations, we won't have the screen up, so we can line chairs up against that wall right there.
Right.
Oh, goodness, we didn't realize.
So for our new members, when they come in and give the presentations, as Sean said, they're going to have a few minutes to just give a presentation that they've hopefully prepared ahead of time, and then we can do Q&A. And what you're going to find is everybody in the room, we all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different disciplines and different things that we focus on. So you're going to find that some of us always focus on this one section of the financials, and some of us always focus on the partnerships. And it kind of naturally evolves that way, but don't ever be afraid to ask questions, because if you have the question, then either someone else has had it or they didn't think to have it, so always ask the questions. And it's always good for them, for the clients, to hear our questions, because then they're better prepared for next year, and they know the kind of things that we're focusing on and paying attention to.
And some of the presenters are not as good as others. And I think that's one of the things that happens to some of the organizations, because I know we have a couple of groups that the presenters are not very good. And the programs are worthwhile. They're very worthwhile. But I think that historically they have gotten cut out because of the lack of a professional presentation. And that's something we need to be conscious of.
I'm thinking between now and then, between now and our first meeting, of maybe having one technical assistance meeting for everyone that made it through the process to come in, and I'll chat with them a little bit prior to the presentations and give them points to go over so that perhaps they could practice a little bit. We will be closed. I almost forgot. We're going to be closed the week of Christmas again, like we were last year. So we shut down, we'll be closed from the 23rd, and then we reopen again on the 2nd. So that's the gray hair. A lot of gray hair. Yeah, it's fabulous. Is Vicki going to come in?
I was going to say, if you want me to go to the next item.
Okay,
then
whenever she
she'll
comes
be
in.
Shortly, how's that?
It's fine, it's fine. The first thing I'm going to go over real quick is Zoom grants from a reviewer's perspective. I'm going to email each of you your password. Okay. You can change it if you like, but then if you lose it or you mess up, then I can't help you. So if you want to change it, you can. And if you have problems with it, because I know that I did, I'll give you the number for Jeff at Zoom Grants. He's the president and owner of the company. He's awesome, and he'll walk you through whatever you want to do, but I'll email all of you your passwords.
Excellent.
Okay?
It looked like it made it pretty easy for
Okay.
them.
This, again, I apologize that it did the PowerPoint in rinky-dinky little tiny squares, but the copy machine and I did not have time to argue, so. And here comes Vicki to give us a quick overview of NRS 241.
Okay, I'm going to grab a chair. NRS 241 is the open meeting law, and they made a lot of changes to it at the last legislative session, which is going to change. For those of you who sat on boards before, it's going to make a lot of changes. We're formalizing them a lot more than they necessarily have been in the past. One of the things to address that and to streamline things is the clerk's office is now going to be responsible in conjunction with the departments for the meetings. So the departments will still be your point of contact. Sean will still work with you on all of the details. She's the expert on the applications and the process and the software for this. And the clerk's office will be responsible for ensuring that the agendas go out, that they're in compliance with 241. It's going to add in the extra language that's been mandated by the state. We're going to have somebody present to take the minutes, and we have some awesome software, which is going to allow us to, has anybody looked at the city clerk or city council meeting online? So the agenda's there, you can click on the agenda, it'll take you to all the attached backup. If it's after the meeting, when you click on the item, it'll jump the recording to the point of that item, so you can hear just the item. You don't have to listen to the whole meeting until you get to the point of what you're looking for. If you don't want to look at the HOPWA, you only want to look at the CDBG, you can jump to that item. So as long as everything is numbered, it'll be linked to that, and that will all be going out online. The video or the audio will be going out within 24 hours after the meeting. We'll trim it, timestamp it, and put it out. The minutes will be going out as soon as we can complete them, but within 30 days. And we will make sure, we will also be one central repository for the permanent record of all of the minutes for all of the boards for the city, along with all of our city council meetings. So in addition to having a little more support from the clerk's office from that end, you'll also, although you don't have an attorney here today for the training session, at your next meeting when you're actually doing presentations, there will be an attorney present to give you any legal guidance, any questions you may have as to whether or not, say, you have a conflict of interest and you'll explain your connection, and then the attorney can give you some guidance as to whether that's a conflict. The clerk's office can provide parliamentarian advice and assist you at the time of the last meeting when you're making motions. They can assist you if you're having difficulty in how to frame a motion. And Sean will, of course, be the expert on everything else. So that's 241. Anybody have any questions, or is there anything we can help you with? Or yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question. When we got the email for the meeting today, I responded, and then I got another email from the individual asking if I was coming to the meeting today. So I wasn't sure what happened if they didn't get my email. But it also asked that I CC everybody that was in the block, and I thought that was a lot of redundancies.
We're going to fix. We can have a suggestion to fix that, to put just the city staff in the CC. So when they do a reply all, they can just erase everybody and just keep us.
I can respond to that. I'm Lean. I'm the one on this particular board that I sent the email out. And when I did, originally I asked for you all to confirm whether or not you'll be present. When I sent the next one out, the day of the meeting, we sent it out to say, just want to establish a quorum. There's a little section in there that I failed to take out that said to respond to everyone. Because typically a person will just do the to field and then CC field. And that's what we're mostly concerned about, because those in the CC field, they also do the meetings. And if one of us is not available, someone will get that information, and then we can follow up on whether or not we have.
So we don't need to tell everybody on the board?
No, that section should have came out, and I apologize for that.
And we will be, in order to keep up with all the boards we've taken on, in addition to the city council redevelopment, recommending, and all the boards we had before, planning commission, whatnot, we will be rotating responsibility for the meeting. So Lena's taking all of the boards this month, while Angela is handling city council and Gabby is handling planning commission. But next month that's going to rotate up, and it's going to be a different combination. So that's why. And really, there's a group, an email group that you could do that would be Sean, myself, Vicki Darling, and city clerk deputies.
Okay.
And that will get all the people who need to know. That way.
So not necessarily the additional.
Nobody else, just those three. If you send it to those three, then everybody in our internal part will get there, and we'll be able to handle. If for instance, there was a little bit of a time period where we weren't sure we would have a quorum, if we know we're not going to have a quorum in the morning, the first thing we want to do is let everybody else know, so that you don't come down only to find out when you're standing here. But there's also, again, some legal compliance with 241 that we're going to need to do about posting the cancellation. But our first step is going to be notifying you. We really appreciate your serving on this board. We know it's a huge commitment of time and effort, and the last thing we want to do is have you waste that time and effort. So if we get that reply,
Thank you.
we'll get an answer right up.
Very good. That's it?
That was it.
Awesome.
So we have our, this is kind of the introduction to you as the reviewers. We have 3 basic parts to the Zoom grant process. There's the applicants, there's admin, that's me, and then reviewers, that's you. That's kind of what they call everybody. So I'll go through the overview of Zoom. This is the first year we're going completely electronic, so very exciting. So you will not be receiving any packet with hard copies of the grant applications. You can, if you want to print something off at home, you can do that. The applications will be reviewed and scored online by Zoom Grants. You won't turn in any hard copies, and we will be able to view your scoring online, but you won't be able to view what each other has done. So it's still confidential, yeah. We can provide you some supplemental tools, which we'll go over as soon as we're finished with this. The Zoom budget, there's 2 budgets. Zoom did a budget that's just, it's more of a quick and easy look, a picture frame, if you will, and it did not allow for the uncommitted to be entered for the expense categories. So that's something hopefully that Jeff will fix for next year. So it's not that the applicants didn't fill it out, it's just that it just didn't do it. It didn't drop those, didn't give them the ability to drop numbers in. So what I tried to do with that Zoom budget was show you quickly what was committed and what was not committed. Not everybody did it right. So when you log on to Zoom Grants, you're going to go to just www.zoomgrants, and there's a spot right up here where you'll put your email address and the password that I gave you, and then just get started. They call it the My Dashboard. It's the first screen that you're going to see, and when you open it up, it'll show you, let me get the laser doohickey, what's open. So yours is going to say HOPWA, and it'll say CDBG and then HOPWA here, okay? Because ESG will, it may pop up when you look at it, it may not, but you guys are not the board for that, so you shouldn't see it, but you might. You're going to see My Voting Decisions, and then you're going to click on the agency. It'll open up their application and all of their attachments so that you can see it, review it, look at it. If it helps you after a couple days, but before we go on our break, if you would like just a 1-page kind of score sheet so you can keep notes as you're reviewing back and forth, I will put something together for you and email it to you. So just kind of take a peek at them and let me know if that's a tool that might help you out.
Sean, do we know who's going when? I guess that's a very simplistic question because, I'd want to, as I'm getting ready for the meeting, I want to know who I'm going to see, instead of just looking at a clump of reviews, all at once. If I know that on the 17th we're seeing
These 10.
Yes.
Then I'll know what to go in depth and review.
I'm working on that.
Awesome.
You're going to see HOPWA first, and then I want to say the first 7 public service, and then after that it's just 2 days of straight public service, and then you're going to do your recommendations on the last day.
Is there going to be any places where we're reviewing the individual applications where we can put notes in, or is
Yes.
that what we'll need?
Nope, there's an online notes thingy too, and you're the only one that can see your notes. No one else can see your notes.
Okay.
So you're going to click, as you go into the Zoom applications, it's pretty easy to look at. There we go. For the for both of them, as a matter of fact, we did a quick little pre-application, which helped us when we were first reviewing to see if an agency should even go forward, because again, you hear about the free grant money, and we've got a lot of really interesting things. And a lot of the interesting things didn't make it. So we have the pre-app that you can look at, the proposal questions, Under account information here, if you click on there, you'll see the agency information, the executive director, program person, all of that.
Which is what you guys need to check to determine if there's any conflicts of interest. That's usually a really big one for us to find that.
Then you have documents. That's all of the attachments that they submit. If we have extra questions, which would be questions that you all would ask, and we'll have to determine how we're going to do that. If you have serious questions after reading through the applications, I think you can put them in there, and then we'll discuss how we want to address that. In other words, if someone really forgot something, or I have not read through all of the applications yet, FYI.
So if we have a conflict of interest, we're going to establish that within the board and then address that to the attorney so they can tell us yeah or nay?
Yes. Yes. We'll do that at every meeting. So like we did before, at one point, Tom McGrath had a relationship with Catholic Charities.
Right.
So we had to step out of the room, and then we went and got him. Although one time we kind of
Some
saw
of
him.
I remember some of them was a little bit gray area. That was
Yes.
That's the benefits of us now having the attorney that can sit there and say, you know, we're within the law.
And back here. There's also an activity log, which is, you can see the activity from the time they applied, and if there was dialogue between us during the application process, so kind of good. But it's really easy to use, very user-friendly. Here's the proposal questions, and you just kind of scroll on down. You have 4 rows of links. So you have your dashboard. There's help, which has PowerPoint you can kind of look at if you have a problem, and I'm not available to try to help you through it. There's a full screen thing you can click on and make it a little bit bigger. Although I learned a really cool trick. If you do Control and the plus sign, it makes everything on your screen bigger. It's a very cool tool. There's your log out. It will log you out after 20 minutes, I think, of inactivity. You just have to log back in. When you click out of the screen, it saves everything. So,
Did you bring it back to the original point?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll just save it. That's all.
But you have quick jumps to select proposals. It lets you do comparative analysis, which is really cool, by question. So if you want to see how everybody answered the budget question, like the question that says, did your budget change up or down? It'll do that for you, and I'll show you how it does that. It's pretty neat. You can print specific documents or print specific things. The applications themselves are less than 5 pages apiece because of the Zoom, because all the documents are attachments after that. And then you'll see that there's a list here. This is all of the documents that we said they had to submit, and they either had to submit them in a PDF or by instructions in Word or Excel, or they could submit like a link. So when you click on it, it would open it up into their stuff, because sometimes we know those audits can be really, really big.
So if it says none, that means that they did not submit the
Correct.
supporting document. That's
That is correct.
interesting.
They may not have needed it. They may not have needed it. Like the fee schedule, not everybody charges a fee. Some people submitted a form saying, we don't charge a fee. Some people said, well, I don't want to do that. So that's just documents. Here's the thing for My Notes. You click on My Notes and type away. And they're saved and changed automatically anytime you make a change. And they're not viewable by anyone else. And then here's the scoring. So you're going to click on scoring for the agency, and we're going to look at that live. And the calculations are done automatically. We don't have to worry about adding or subtracting. It just does it. Then, there's Marty. My supervisor, Marty Toledo. Some of you know him, some of you don't. To see if you voted on someone, you can click on My Vote, and it will show you. And there's also a thing on here which is really fun, where you can play with numbers. So you can go through and say, I approve this agency for $20,000, and it'll look kind of like what we do at the end. No one can see that. That's just for your eyes only. The only thing that we will see is, of the 13 of you, how many have finished their voting. So,
Will we have an opportunity to change that?
yes, I will leave it open for you guys. And I made sure with the schedule this year that you had a week from, you have from
I saw that.
Thursday to Tuesday to, you have the weekend.
From the presentation?
To think about from the last
Yeah.
presentation
Nice.
until you're ready to actually
Thank you.
Oh, I
put that
like
together.
that.
I'm really sorry I messed that up last year. So you have a little bit of time to think about your recommendations and play with your numbers. So I hope that you guys will like this, and any feedback, positive, negative, changes, suggestions, please let me know, because we do take that into consideration. And then it gives you my voting summary, so you'll see everybody that applied, and if you decided that, what your straw poll was, for lack of a better. And then when we're finished is when you'll do the approved. But at least it'll give you a chance to kind of look and see.
Will it do a schedule like the one that
Deb did.
created?
The nice thing about the software is you can go in and it'll export it into Excel so you can look at it.
Okay.
So, but you can certainly.
But I mean, on the last day when we're voting, is there going to be a spreadsheet created?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes, we'll have
Is
a
it done by
spreadsheet.
Zoom or is it done by?
Kind of both.
Okay.
We're going to export that into. We'll play with it before we do the meeting with you guys to see how that works.
The nice thing is at the very end, no matter what you score here, they do like a big spreadsheet with everybody, and that's when our real
That's when we
hardcore voting.
negotiate.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
It's a negotiation.
That's when you
It is.
And to get to that.
It's very hard to read because it's so small.
Yeah, hopefully it will squash up a little bit. We'll do what we can. This little slide here kind of shows you how to do the compare the proposals. And then this is what the scores look like. This is all the questions here. And I know this is small, but we'll go in and look at something a little bit bigger. But it shows what the scores were. And that pointer. And then down here you can see that the scale, the weight, and the maximum score. We have the ability to weight questions this year, but to weight the questions, we did not do that this year because we're still kind of playing with the new questions. So it's going to look like a lot more scoring questions than before, but we broke it down by component. So if it's too much, then do let us know. Some of the other entities have like 20 questions, so we had 13 and 14. Additional help is up here. You just have to click on there. And this will increase or decrease the font size on your computer. And here's that compare proposals, your scoring report. So it does all kinds of really fun stuff. It'll let you look by your notes, like what were my notes on all the agencies. I had hoped that you guys would have your majority of your scoring done before our first meeting on the 17th, but if that's going to be a problem, then we'll just play it by ear and we'll get through it. I will send you an email with your login as soon as I get back to the office. There's the Zoom grants there, and you can log on multiple times. It doesn't throw you out. So if you want to open it up twice, like have HOPWA over here and public service over here, you can do that. It doesn't throw you out. Yes. Pam?
I just wanted to clarify, you were hoping we'd have our scoring done before the 17th, before the first meeting?
Yes.
Our initial
So you'd
score.
like-
Your initial scoring.
Initial scoring.
Initial. Not the two questions that have to do with the presentation.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Most of us do that. Most of us used to
Yes,
do that
yes.
anyway. You
Yeah.
kind of go through and you knew how you felt about certain aspects because you knew what the score sheet held.
Yeah.
And you came with as much, your homework done.
Yeah.
You know, and that way you're only narrowing down certain things. And Deb was asking about the notes, because almost all of us would write in the printed. We have
Margin of
notes,
error.
everything. What is this? I feel bad for the people presenting this year, because they had a hard time when we were looking at our papers all the time. How are they going to feel when we're all behind screens?
Well, we'll get through it. So definitely, you will need to bring a laptop to the meetings. I will have 5 notebooks. I know that a couple of you said that you needed to use those, so I do have 5.
I brought mine today.
I have mine.
I know.
And then,
I thought we needed it today.
so when you log in, this is Zoom Grants. You just log into regular old Zoom, and it remembers me. Loves me, it loves me. So this is what it looks like for me, and what it looks like for you is a little bit different, but I think you're gonna, I'll log in as Audrey here in a second, so you can see it from your point of view. But you just go in, and we're working with 2011. So this is CDBG, and it lets me see everybody that they're undecided. So this is everyone that's applied so far. I'm sorry, this is everyone that applied, period. Stupid. And then down at the bottom, and one of the first things we'll have to do is we're going to go in, and you all have to decline and score these agencies with a 0.
These are the 3 that did not move
Yes.
forward.
That is correct.
Okay.
Does the PDF file reflect why they, or do we reflect it?
It should say in the activity log,
Why did it move forward?
application is substantially incomplete.
Not just incomplete, but substantially.
Substantially.
It's part of our bingo, because in the instructions, it does say applications that are substantially incomplete will not move forward. And the reason it's a closed program is because the application deadline is over.
Gotcha.
That's taken me a little bit to go, what? So here's public service. So this is all the agencies here, and it gives you, see, we're undecided, we have 0 votes. We have, this is what they requested, and we just click on it. So this is After School All-Stars that we're looking at here. And you'll see, here's notes. Okay, I'm just looking at that, like, ooh, if I put notes in there, you're not supposed to see my notes, I'm not supposed to see your notes, it's Chinese law. This is the scoring that we've set up. So we have 13 questions, and the 14th question is going to be admin points, which as soon as I get my admin points in, you're just going to take, because you're going to see them at the bottom, you're just going to take whatever that score is and add it onto yours, because I didn't know any other way to do it. So you have, staff has 15 points. We have 10 points to verify whether the information in their 990s supported their minimum budget of $60,000. And then we have 5 points as to whether or not they have their committed funds. So we based our questions on tangible financial information. Okay.
Deb, did we talk last year about asking them a couple things, but one being what they got the previous year? Or is that shown in their application?
The issue we had with that is it's good for agencies that are returning, but what are you going to ask the agencies who have not asked for funds before? We tried to make it an even playing field.
Or ones that got 0 funded, not because they weren't worthy, but because there just wasn't enough
Wasn't enough
money.
funds.
Yeah.
So that might have
We didn't want to do anything that
artificially.
would taint the.
Well, we had,
taint
but we had some issues last year where
influence.
people asked for substantially more, and we asked for clarification
Than
about
they had the
why,
previous year.
And
what
I-
happened.
Definitely, you can make that one of your questions to ask
when you
that.
What did you ask for last year? Or?
Yes. Definitely, you can ask those
Trying
types
to
of
dig through
questions.
my notes of like,
I know.
So our basic, you have
here.
copies of the
Going way back.
scoring questions. The score questions are proprietary, so I'm not going to read them. We believe that if we put out what our scoring process is, that the agencies would write their applications to the scoring process and not necessarily to what they're doing.
Sure.
So we thought that...
You don't want to teach to the test.
Correct. We do not want to teach to the test. Thank you, Devendra. So I'm not going to read through these. You have a copy with those questions on there. And again, if it's very helpful, I can come up with some kind of a one-pager for you guys to use and print off to keep notes on if that helps you when you're reviewing. Because I am here to help, to the government, here to help. So this is the extra questions. And it's only for this particular applicant. So if you had a question that you wanted to ask, then you could type that in there, I think.
And we can use this in addition to our notes.
I believe so, but I'm going to double check to make sure you have that ability. Remember, this is my first time too, so we're going to learn together. Documents. This is all the documents. You have to be very careful because I can actually delete these, but you cannot. So what we did was you just say open the document. You don't want to save it
So you
onto
must
your...
allow pop-ups on your computer.
Uh-huh. So this is that certification form. So they just signed it and scanned it in. I think I can close that without closing everything. I did. Their budget worksheet, though, all Excel, so there should be no calculation errors. None.
What about those of us that may not have the Office we have on our computers?
Our
do you have
thought
to
was
Excel?
that if they did not, then they did not have the capacity to run the grants.
I'm talking about us.
Oh.
You can't be a board member.
They don't have the
How much
capacity.
training did the agencies get on this?
I had 3 workshops. 3 workshops.
The agencies probably appreciated this more than the others, so.
And they also had, we share a lot of agencies with North Las Vegas and Henderson and Clark County. So North Las Vegas got to use this last year. So there were agencies that were multiple year users. And our application and Henderson's application, theirs went out first. So they had the opportunity to look at that first. So this is just the budget. Real quick, here's your direct client services, salaries and fringes for direct client services, your admin salaries, so that you can compare the cost of admin to the cost of direct client services. There's the program delivery cost, supplies, and operating. So this agency, here's the CLV portion, they only ask for one budget line item. So their priorities should reflect maybe 1 or 2, because this could be 2 salaries. It could be 3 salaries. It could be a piece of 3 different people. But you can see that as you look down there, they only had 1 budget line item, and that's what I meant. What agencies would do is, which made it an administrative nightmare for me, was they would take that $15,000
And break it
and break it down over every item here,
Yeah.
and sometimes my backup is 3 inches to spend $3,000, which is a lot because I have to go through all the paperwork. So we're trying to streamline because I'm sure you've heard we are working more with less, and he's very tired.
Lean and mean.
So these are all of your documents. So you just click on them to take a look at them. We brought back the 3-year program funding history, which shows you this is what they did for 9-10. This is what they did for 10-11 and 11-12.
That's right.
You can go to GuideStar, which is the website, if you want to look at their 9-10 or 10-11 990s. It's a free software. You can set up a login and you can look up and do comparative analysis if you like. But
You'll
we asked,
email us the link to that? Okay.
we asked them for 9-10, 10-11, 11-12, and to give us their projected. So you can have pretty much almost a 4-year history of this agency. And this information, at least for 10-11, needs to match that 990, so that you'll be able to see who the agencies are that embellish just a tad bit. We have in-kind explanation form. This is those performance measures. And there's outcomes, major tasks, the outputs, and the outcome measurements. So
Yeah.
they need to tell us, this is what they're going to do. They're going to serve 1,000 youth at 3 schools.
That used to be the front page of the application
Yep.
in our notebook.
Yep.
You knew what it
This looks
was.
exactly like the
Looks the same,
application.
it's the same thing.
Yes. I was able to
Nice.
upload the forms. They
Awesome.
just had to
Nice.
download it and fill it out and put it in. So
Very nice.
So very
that's where you see kind of the who and the how and the end result. And then you have board of directors. You won't, I'll have articles of incorporation gone, so you don't have to go through all that. Those are going to be gone, because you guys don't need that, we need that.
And sometimes it's
And
good
the
to review the
nonprofit
board of
status, you don't
directors
need that. But
and
you will
conflict
have,
of interest.
you're going to have access to the current operating budget, their audit, see that where they had to break theirs in half because it was a little bit big, and their board of directors, and then their committed funds letters.
Okay.
Awesome.
So they submitted a committed fund letter. We'll take a peek at it. And it says 30,000, and the time frame starts the January 1. So they were able to use that because it's a 2012 grant, so they can use a part of that as their match. But if it was for fiscal year 2010-11, like I had someone submit a letter of the funds that we gave them for this fiscal year, well, that's not a match because they can't use it after this fiscal year. So, oh, killed it. Where did it go? Well, that wasn't very nice.
recent documents.
No, I killed the whole website.
Oh. See how you want?
Yeah. Well, I'll go in as Audrey real quick,
You're just on the top of the list.
because you're on the top of the list.
Yeah, Audrey. Yeah, you're buddy.
You're an AA.
And you're just going to type in your email address.
And now we all know Audrey's email address.
Well,
I
I'm
know.
doing this.
Spam your mailbox tonight.
And the password that I'm giving you is all lowercase.
Okay. And long.
And long, yes.
I'm
Do it right.
Oh, phooey. Okay, hold on, let me. Do I have your name spelled right up there, Audrey?
Yeah.
Okay, so then I must have put this in wrong.
Just the special password.
There we go. She had to give you just crazy passwords because Jeff, the Hamilton, who is the president of Zoom Grant, said that he had some prankster board members that went in and changed each other's passwords. Well, that wouldn't be very
I have a
nice.
question. Even though we're clicking on 2011, after we do this, and by the good grace of God, we're appointed again, we'll be able to go back and look at that, right? Because then we'll be clicking on 2012.
Yes.
Am I making sense?
It keeps a
Next
record
year
of all
will be
this stuff.
2012.
So,
So
yeah,
as long as we're using Zoom grants, we'll be able to see previous histories.
that's what they said.
Wonderful, we don't have to keep
So,
paperwork.
so when you log in, now I'm Audrey, and you're going to click on 2011, because if you click on 2012,
Amen.
there's nothing there, because
Because you don't exist there.
it's, right. 12 was for ESG, because we kind of used that as our guinea pig, and then it was kind of stuck there, so we said, no
There's your
worries.
73.
So here's your, here's your my voting decisions. So right now, we don't have any. See, none approved, none declined, no money recommended. So you're going to go into,
They learned nothing last year, did they, Deb?
Is the Bar Association in there this year? Did they come back?
no. They
No?
had the deadline written down wrong.
Oh, who was the one that was minutes late because they waited till 10 minutes before?
You'll see
We'll
when
see.
they.
We'll see.
It's all in there. We have to, that we have to decline.
So the,
That breaks my heart.
you're going to see, here's the account information. So this is all the information for the contact for this particular organization. These are the pre-app questions that we asked. This was supposed to be no more than 4 sentences. Yeah, I got some novels. But it tells you what they were asking for, their date of incorporation, their program budget, the amount they asked for from CDBG. We specifically asked if the agency or program budget was $60,000 or more, which could include that 25% in kind. What the number, if they submitted multiple applications, how important this was. This agency just submitted one, so this was, of course, their number one. They said yes or no, that they understood that they had to have that 25% difference match. Are you 501c3 or 4? What's your DUNS number? And are you current with the Secretary of State and City of Las Vegas business licensing, which we looked up after the applications were submitted. That way we didn't have all those pieces of paper that were never printed correctly. This is your vote. So you can vote to approve, undecided, or decline. And for us, I will double check with Jeff, but I believe that if we can say that undecided is abstention. But I'm going to double check with him to see if it's declined or if it's if we want to put it in as undecided.
And if you already know it's a conflict of interest, even before
Right.
you know the attorney tells you.
Or if you're pre-voting, if you're not sure, maybe you click that for yourself to know undecided.
So I'm going to say approve, and I'm just going to put an amount in here, and I'll go in and erase it so we can see what happened. So, no, I didn't put a score in. So you're just going to click down. The application is complete, clear, and attentive to detail, on a scale of 0 to 5. See how that just popped up right there? So everything happens instantaneous right when you're there. And then here's our admin score down here. So as soon as they're in, you're going to see what that score is. And then you can add scoring comments.
And the scoring comments would be really good if we end up zero funding. We can use those comments to
Yes.
explain
You have to
why
verbally
we're
say
zero
why.
funded. So
And you can run a report. Like you can run that report before you get here and print it off. It'll show you all your stuff, like on the
Okay,
comparison
awesome.
stuff.
So after we do the scoring, then your admin score shows up, or
Our admin score will show up as soon as I get it in there.
it should be there before.
okay, before I got you.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see here. This is that Zoom budget, real quick snapshot. So this is the program budget here. They're saying they're committed funds, and this is their uncommitted funds. So you can kind of see, and this is what, I use the same funding categories from the budget, so they could easily do that Excel document first, and then take those numbers and plug them right in.
Does it show you on one of the first sheets where you see all of the applications, and it'll say whether you've made your funding recommendation or not, these that we only see? Does it tell us what balance we have left or if we're over?
I believe it does. It'll tell you if you have money left. And I thought it would. Okay, so now we're going to
Go
go.
to the very back up from here again, where we see all the applications, because that's where it would be.
Okay, now 1 sec. Let me. Okay. This is the. Come here, you. You have two lines. You can look at HAPA or public service. When you click on this particular, that line right there, the review home line, when you click on here and you scroll all the way up to the top, here's my voting decisions. So we can see that down here, we scroll down to the bottom, and right now,
Good, so it does calculate.
it calcs out what you've got and what you've got available.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay?
That's going to be
So
really
the figures
helpful.
are already in there.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have pre-app decisions, which you don't need to, you don't want to see that, but you want to see, here's compare proposals. This is really fun. You click here on compare proposals, and then you can do my notes, or you can do a question, or you can do all the supporting documents.
And where this might come in really handy is if clients are habitually saying that they had problems with a question, we could go through there and see if everybody had a problem with the same question, and then give everybody credit for it if that's the issue. Awesome.
So it says it takes a couple minutes. I should have picked something that didn't take so long, sorry. Let me do something else. So here's your scoring comments, and you do a submit. It's in here, buddy. Thank you. Now you can see all your scoring comments for every agency, and you can print that.
Nice.
You can do the same thing for whatever you want. Your funding committee decision, let's see what it says. It says here we have one vote, and it gives you the average, although I don't know how it came up with the average. I guess it divided it by everybody that was on there. I'm not quite sure why it did that, but
15,000.
yes.
The average.
But there's two people
Right.
there's two people that, okay.
But you won't see that. Like when you log in as yourself, you won't see
We just say
what
that we
she's
can
done.
double what everybody else is.
You're
But
gonna
you'll see the average. We'll see the average. Like when I go in, everybody else here's already filled theirs in. It will tell me that there's
No,
12 votes
it'll tell you
that averaged out to X amount.
No, it will not give you the amount. It will be,
That would have been helpful.
Because that's what
Right.
that's what I'm seeing here.
That's what I thought I was
Because-
seeing as well.
but let me try logging in while we're right here, and let's see what it does.
Yeah, let's
I'll
log in
log with
someone
somebody
else
else.
who cast a vote for the
I'm
same
almost
one.
positive it doesn't do that because of the, it's an NRS 241 thing.
Yeah,
Because if you
primary.
see how everybody else voted, you might be swayed to change your vote.
Unless they, I think,
We're not seeing
unless they
it.
put in a clause in about it's an
And the
average.
average. But
That's
still,
why they
it
say
can
this is what
influence
it
how
is. This is an
influence
average.
how we vote.
That's true.
Well, you
They
might
just
go
go up and
higher.
down the whole.
Uh-huh. Hang on, I'm pretending to be Deb for a second.
You don't have enough cat hair on you to be me.
Yes, it's usually much quicker.
I know it would take a little longer.
I went to get a pedicure the other day, and I got in the chair and I pulled my trouser legs up, and there was so much cat hair on the inside of my trouser legs. It was like there was a cat in there. I was so nervous.
Wow.
Because I rolled all the rest of myself, but not the inside of my pants.
This lady
That's
sheds.
my 12-year-old would say TMI.
Okay, so now we're going to,
Ms. Jones is
Yes.
going to...
Yeah, I don't. And I'm like, but when you wash your clothes, you think that all the cat hair would come out.
Oh, no.
what do you mean there's no program available?
And not the inside of your pant legs.
Oh, foo.
I've got one too.
Hold on.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody here.
Okay.
Merry Christmas, Dylan.
It's good to see you. And we're here.
Forgot I have to assign her.
We're glad you're here.
I forgot to assign her.
And just for the record, Sean, Member McFadden is leaving for remainder of the evening, right?
And if you have
We're going to be
questions
done
or
in a few
anything,
minutes.
just email any of us. Sean's got our email addresses out there. Email any of us, ask questions. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Hard but fun.
Member McCoy.
There we go.
Bye-bye.
Same to you.
Okay, sorry, I had to add the
If we weren't
vendor.
recording, I'd be singing.
Okay. There, see how that worked? Instantaneous.
Ta-da!
I am instantaneous. I like it. Sorry. So let's see, we went to,
We were doing After School All-Stars.
right, but we went to compare.
Compare the results. That's what we're
Scoring
showing the
report.
average when other people are...
Okay, so, yeah,
It shows
it'll
one
do the
vote.
av, but it won't do anything else. Okay, so we've got our votes. All right. So this is going to be really fun. Very excited. If you have any questions, you can give me a call. You can play with it because you can't break it. I'm the one that can break it and delete things and
You know, so they'll-
And I have.
I take that as a challenge.
I warned Jeff when we got started that I am a breaker of all things IT, and I've sent him some really fun stuff. He said, I don't know how you're doing it, but yeah, thanks.
I'm glad I'm not alone in that.
But I'm very excited for you guys to have it, and and to be able to do it in no books, and I think this is going to be really fun. So if I don't see you before the holidays, I hope you guys all have a great holiday. And we are. And I will email out your...
Chair, co-chair, Phyllis is alternate co-chair.
Alternate co-chair.
Yeah. And I'll email you out links and all the fun stuff of the website you can go to, and I'll email you your passwords the minute I go back upstairs.
The minute?
And parking, I will mail you guys your parking passes. I have to submit to parking enforcement for those,
So you're going to mail them to us, we'll get them in.
and I'll mail them to you.
That'd be great if we
Well,
had
don't
it for the
forget
next
Unless you
meeting.
want to, come
Don't
by
forget,
and...
mail's getting a little slow now, so
Oh,
you're
well,
out ahead of time.
I'll let you know when they're ready, and if you want to, whoever wants to come by and pick them up, you can come by and pick them up, and if you want me to mail it, I will mail them to you.
Just remember
We
not
have
Friday.
to have a motion in order to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
And motion to adjourn. Pam Hartley, motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Pam. Second.
Linda Pappas, second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we're done.
Thank you.
Sean, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We have to have a vote.
Though, could we please, though, at least open up item 10 for public comment, just to verify that there is no one
Is there anybody from the public here who wishes to speak? Speak now or forever hold your peace. We are the public that's here. There is no public comment. Madam Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And when Ms. Verla said it's time to